Hey, good Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome back into Let's Talk Live here on the LTL Media channel. I want to welcome everybody in. And wow, what a week, huh? What a first week in the trial of Karen Read. Lots to get into tonight, and lots to talk about and review. And that's basically what we're going to do tonight. And I just picked out some of the major sticking points that really stuck out to me during testimony this week, and we'll go through them. And I have a mix of a presentation and videos that we can go through. And again, my shows are very factual, and just like to go through this stuff and review it. So let's look at the chat and see who's in here as the chat builds. Let's go back up to the top here. Crime Sleuth and check-in says, "Woo, can't wait for this. Thank you so much for being here this evening." Let's see. Danny's here. Hello. Thanks for being a moderator. Thanks for being here, Danny. I appreciate it. Karen checking in, saying hello, Brian. Well, hello, Karen. Thank you for being here. Rogue, one of my moderators. Thanks for being here this evening on Sunday. I appreciate it. Seven, jumping in and saying, let's fucking go. Love it. Love it. Kim checking in. Nice to see you. New Hampshire woman. Good evening to you. Renee's from Philly. She's checking in. Thank you so much. Let's see. Casey's checking in. Good to see you, Casey. Thank you. 22G checking in. Say, hey, Brian. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you as well. Thank you. My girlfriend's in the chat. Nice to see you as well. And Massacre checking in. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So again, we have a lot to go through, a lot to review tonight. Very informative show. Again, I just picked out a lot of the sticking points, things that really jumped out to me over the last week in trial. And, we'll get to that. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. But you know how I like to start the shows? And I like to start out, and I've been trying this segment out, is with my opening statement. So let's get to that. This is my opening statement. All right, so I have my script tonight. I don't have my teleprompter yet, but I'm going to work on getting one here. But let's get into my opening statement tonight. So, Mr. Lally, this is for you. This is for you. And I've heard some things have changed, so I may be corrected on this. But I'm going to talk about specifically Karen Read's car outside 34 Fairview with the taillight being removed. And I have heard, and there's a rumor out there, that the jury did know that the taillight was removed, but I don't know if that's fact. So let me get into my opening statement. So, Mr. Lally, the visibility of Karen Read's vehicle with its removed taillight during the jury's visit raises questions about the integrity of the evidence presented in this trial. This would be the first time the jurors would see Miss Read's vehicle, but not in the condition that it was seized and then manipulated to follow through with your narrative and Michael Proctor's narrative that Karen Read killed John O'Keefe. Given the significance of such details in shaping the jury's perception, do you understand any alterations to condition of the vehicle could potentially compromise the fairness of Karen Read's trial? Well, of course you do. But it seems that those rules don't apply. Manipulation of the evidence, intentional or not, threatens the very foundation in the pursuit of justice, specifically in this case. Can we assure that Karen Read receives a fair and impartial trial? I'm starting to think not. And that is my opening statement for this evening. Thank you. All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to get into my presentation here. And I want to let everybody know any donation that comes through tonight, my girlfriend is going to add up all the totals. Any donation tonight that comes in, I'm going to donate 25% of it to Karen Read's defense fund. So if we can get to $100, that would be great. But what I'm going to do is just throw up a banner here just to remind everybody, any donation tonight, 25% of it will be donated to Karen's fund. And then what I'm going to do is I will get we're going to keep a running total in the chat room My girlfriend's going to get a total at the end, and then we'll post that in the chat. We'll take 25% of that, and then I'm going to donate that right on Karen's Defense Fund page, and I'll cut out and make a receipt and post it up on my Facebook page and my community page for you all to view. So it's transparent, it's out there, no trickery, anything like that. And then what I actually do is when you send the money, you get a email, because I've sent about 10 donations totaling probably about $800. You get an actual email back from her fund that says you had donated specific amount. I will post that as well too. So just keep in mind that. Okay, so let's move through the show this evening. I'm going to pull up my presentation here and get into what we need to get into. So we have the Karen Read trial. In my opinion, so far, the defense is on fire. Fire. That's how we say it here in Massachusetts. Fire. It is on fire. All right, let's get into week one. We recap and we talk about the lies. A lot of lying going on the stand. A lot of people getting caught here on cross-examination. I believe that Alan Jackson and David Unetti have been shining this first week. And we're going to talk about opening statements here. And I have a fantastic video that I want to show all of you tonight, that a YouTube channel that goes by Natalie Lawyer Chick. And I don't know if you've seen this. She's been breaking down the Karen Read trial, and I love her breakdown of David Unetti's opening statement. She's a defense lawyer. We're going to play that video tonight, and we're going to see her reaction to David Unetti's opening statement. So let's go here. Moving along. So day one, Lally's opening statements. I think that he pushed very hard on the soured relationship theory. He stated that there was 6 inches of snow on Mr. O'Keefe when he was found. I find that hard to believe. And now that we've even seen the dash cam video, I even find that harder to believe. It didn't even look like there was even 6 inches of snow up there on the ground and at that time. He pushed very hard on the I hit him in his opening statement. Supposedly Karen saying this in the fit of rage, I hit him. There was no passion or energy in his delivery. He left out Ryan Nagel's 10-2 statement. Remember that in the Commonwealth statement that witness Ryan Nagel said that Alan Jackson's theory, I'm sorry. It's a lot that gets confusing in this case, that Ryan Nagel made the statement that when he drove by Karen Read's SUV that evening, he looked over, dome light on, Karen's hands at 10-2, and there was no one else in the car. So if there's no one else in the car, that being John O'Keefe, well, then where is John O'Keefe? John O'Keefe is not on the ground, because Ryan Nagel probably would have stated that. John O'Keefe is not inside the SUV, because Ryan Nagel would have said that. John O'Keefe was not standing behind Karen's vehicle, nor wandering around anywhere. So where did that put him? That would literally put him inside 34 Fairview at that time. Let's see. I just want to go back to this view here. Whoops. This view. Okay. He left out Karen giving John mouth to mouth, but Officer Sarif, during his testimony, says that Karen had blood around her mouth when he arrived at 34 Fairview. I think that Lally's going to rely heavily on lab experts, scientific data, and character witness testimony, which the character witness testimony, or just the character testimony already is it's literally blowing up in his face. We know with Katie McLaughlin the other day, which we're going to get into that testimony because it was very, very compelling on cross. And we know all of the things that have been coming out about her lately, saying that she didn't have this close relationship with Caitlin Albert. And we're going to show evidence here tonight that she actually did have a very close relationship with her. And then we got on there. We had the famous I don't recall statements that Katie McLaughlin repeatedly said over and over again. She just can't recall anything. So let's get into David Unetti. So David Unetti just came out on fire, leads with Karen Read was framed. And I'm going to play a video here in a second that is just complete fire breaking this statement down. talked about the faulty investigation, no real investigation that was done in this case. Brian Albert and I love that he got this on the record. He says Brian Albert was a first responder, fellow police officer, and did not respond to the situation. Michael Proctor never asked to do any type of investigation inside 34 Fairview. There's no search warrant of Brian Albert's house. Michael Proctor falsified the time in which he picked up Karen's SUV. There's no video of Karen actually hitting John at 34 Fairview. You know, it's funny, and I had a discussion today about that. And, you know, I've had a lot of people that have kind of, I wouldn't say come at me, but after watching the first week of testimony in this case, their opinion has varied with mine. And it's fine. They can have that respectful view. And I had a conversation actually this morning and talked about this person saying to me, hey, I think she's guilty and these are the reasons why. And I just said, and it was funny because I was talking to my girlfriend last night about this in the car, because we always constantly talk about this case. I said, listen, I don't know why they wouldn't just throw up this Hail Mary. If Karen Read is guilty of hitting John O'Keefe, Officer John O'Keefe, if Karen Read is guilty of this, then why wouldn't they just throw the Hail Mary up and show a video? Hey, I have the video. I'm a neighbor. I had a ring cam. I would just come forward immediately and say, here is the video that she did it. Here it is. And we know why. Ironically, that night, no one's ring camera that was facing 34 Fairview or even in the direction of where Karen Read's SUV supposedly hit John O'Keefe that night. None of them worked, or they weren't turned on, or they were broken, or the data got erased. I find that just a little funny, because if you could nail someone dead to rights, why would you not just come forward and show a video? And that's literally the only thing at this point that would convince me. If there was a video that came out and just boom, right there it is, my mouth would probably drop and say, okay, there it is. That's it. I mean, exactly. I mean, because she didn't do it and there's no video. And that's why the huge corrupt cover up. And keep in mind, and I don't think a lot of people understand this, some people might not know all the intricate details in this case. The FBI has investigated the investigation in this case. And if you know anything about the FBI, they would not just jump in because they want to jump in. They have to have something clear and definitive for them to jump in and actually investigate something. So they're not going to waste their time. And then they talked about, he brought up the fact about Ryan. He did bring in Ryan Nagel's statement of the 10 and 2, and we just talked about that. Jennifer McCabe at 2:27 happened. The FBI has confirmed that. And the 6 people that left Fairview that night on the evening, but they didn't see John's body outside. If John was there, then why didn't these 6 people that left that night see him out on the lawn? Your headlights, when you're backing out and turning out, you would have seen them. You would have seen him laying there, or when you're walking out, you would have been feet away from where John supposedly was. So why? Why not? All right, so let's do this. Let's pull up this video here from, I'm just going to share another screen here. And this is from Natalie Lawyer Chick. Please go over and subscribe to her channel. She's got a huge channel. She's a defense lawyer and talks about, they're going to talk a little bit about how Lally should have came out first. And then we're going to hear her break down David Yannetti's statement, his opening statement. And I love this video. I love her reactions. I hope she doesn't mind that I'm playing her video, but I'll post her link after in my description if you want to go back and check out this full video. All right, here we go.
Are skewed for intimate partner violence based on people that you already know, which is also true, incidentally, of most crimes like that. It's usually someone you know. So is this a random man we're just falling apart, or are we random?
All right, real quick, I had a couple of cash apps come in, and I want to just read those off so we get a running total. Let's see. Tammy, thank you so much for the $20. Casey, if you can just type the $20 in the chat, we'll keep a running total. And then at the end of the night, we'll take 25%, post it, get the receipt up online so everybody can see that. And then we'll post the total at the very, very end of what we're going to donate to Karen. So $20 came in. And she says, Karen and Justice, stop corruption. Love that, Tammy. Thank you so much. Renee has sent a $20 Cash App. So thank you so much, Renee. We'll get 25% of that out to Karen's Defense Fund. All right. So it should be 20 and 20. We have $40 so far. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep going.
Randomly, like with our ex-boyfriend who just happens to also be in this woods.
Right.
Because that might affect the numbers.
Right. That might affect the numbers, but there was no qualification. So it just was man. It just was the hypothetical. And let's accept that this is just a hypothetical. You could
Don't
you could adjust.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, before moving on to a different topic, to move back to this, let me tell you what a good opening argument looks like in theory, because it's actually really simple.
If you can just do me a favor, Casey, just type the $20 and then $20 so everybody can see it in the chat. So if anybody wanted to go back and add it, they can, just for transparency. So let's put Cash App donation $20, Cash App donation $20, so we can keep a running total. And at the end, we'll total it all up. All right, let's keep playing through here.
And the defense lawyer is going to do it, but I'm going to tell you what it is before you see it so that you understand why it's good.
Sure.
Right. So the model opening argument is, this case is about blank.
So this is what he's saying that Lally should have came out with right away. And then we're going to see David Yannetti's statement get broken down. And I love her reaction.
And then you give something like 2 to 4 sentences that reinforce, echo, and buttress that statement. And that is your first paragraph of your introduction. So, for example, if I were going to do it for the prosecutor, off the top of my head, it would be something like, this case is about a violent murder, the death of a police officer, and the jealous girlfriend who mowed him down with her car.
There you go.
Okay. That's what that's the thing. All right. And then I could be like, on the date of so-and-so, the defendant purposefully and with intent drove her car into her boyfriend in the city of whatever and left him there to die. Blah, 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 blah. Right. So that is the model. That is the model way to do it. This case is about blank.
Yes.
2 to 4 more sentences that reinforce and buttress, and then you move on. And the defense lawyer actually does this because he's competent.
Yes. Okay, let's go. I love it.
All right, David, Yannetti breakdown.
That is perfectly put. I did my best to kind of give a textbook explanation of what an opening should be, especially for a prosecutor. But that example that Kurt gave is exactly right. There's so much emotional appeal in this case. There was no reason for that opening to be like that. Let's see what the defense does with their case.
Boom.
Let's go ahead.
All right, do we have another 20 that came through? Let's just make sure. Let's see. Let me go to Cash App. Was it Cash App, Tammy? Because I didn't see anything come through. Venmo? Okay, let me just check it just to verify. I appreciate your donation. Thank you. Let's see if we got it. Yep, Tammy, $20 on Venmo. She says, for Karen Reed, Justice Stop Corruption. Thank you. So that was I'm sorry. So the first 20 was a Cash App. The second was a Venmo. So we're caught up. Thank you. So we got the 40 and 40 in there. Thank you. All right. I mean, 20 and 20. I'm sorry. So we're at 40. Thank you. All right. Let's keep playing through. Thank you.
Reed was framed.
Yes!
Pause!
Let's go.
See
back.
what I'm saying? A police officer.
Let's go back. Watch your
Love
reaction.
it. That is perfectly put. I did my best to kind of give a textbook explanation of what an opening should be, especially for a prosecutor. But that example that Kurt gave is exactly right. There's so much emotional appeal in this case. There was no reason for that opening to be like that. Let's see what the defense does with their case. Let's go ahead.
Karen Reed was framed.
Yes! Pause!
See what I'm saying?
Hell fucking yeah! That's how you
That's it.
open
That's
it.
it. That's it. That's it. It's
That's
not
so
complicated.
It's
That's it.
not.
This case is about X. Karen Reed was framed. Fantastic. You got it.
That's the theme. It's
You got
every
it.
you start with a theme. What did we see? And you didn't like Daybell Prosecution's opening, the most recent trial, but
Yeah.
he had a theme. He had a triplicate. It was like sex, money, and murder, or whatever it was, and this is a story, and here are the chapters. He wasn't very exciting, but he had a structure. Karen Reed was
She's
framed
right.
is an awesome.
Perfect.
Oh,
Word. It's not hard. Just do that.
oh,
Yeah,
I love
easy.
it.
Just do that.
Yes.
It's great.
Absolutely. Let's go back. Okay.
But listen to the next 3 or 4 sentences too, because you'll see how he echoes and buttresses.
Yeah, let's back it up to the beginning and
You
without
will
me
learn that
screaming
it was
on it.
no accident that John O'Keefe was found.
Awesome. Yes. Yes.
Karen Reed was framed.
Boom.
Her car never struck John O'Keefe. She did not cause his death. And that means that somebody else did. You will learn that it was no accident that John O'Keefe was found dead on the front lawn of 34 Fairview Road in Canton on January 29th of 2022. You will learn that at that address lived a well-known and well-connected law enforcement family in Canton, the Alberts.
Yes.
Because the Alberts were involved, and because they had close connections to the investigators in this case, Karen Reed was framed for a murder she did not commit.
Yeah, I want to point something out to everybody too, and I made this observation the other night, and maybe I'm just being overly observant, but I want to make sure that you guys and ladies understand something, which is pretty significant in this case, and maybe you all notice this too. And it's nothing against Liz Little, but I want you all to tell me, where has Karen been positioned this whole time at the table? Where has Karen been positioned this whole time at the table? I'll wait for you to all put it in the chat, and maybe you can figure it out. Where has Karen been positioned the entire time so far at trial? That's right. Heather, awesome observation. She's been between Yannetti and Jackson, and nothing against Liz Little, but she's being accused right now of killing a man, okay? Of killing a man. And they seated her between Jackson and Yannetti to show that they have no fear of her and to protect her, and that they are her protectors, that they are going to stand with Karen Reed and go through this complete trial with her and have absolute trust and confidence in her. And I love the positioning here. And it's nothing against Liz Little, but I think it's a perfect position of where she is. Okay. Let's keep playing a little bit more of this. I might not go through all of this because I do have a lot to get through, but we'll be playing through here. Get some reaction.
Good morning again.
Pause.
Ladies
Stop.
and gentlemen.
That's
Pause.
it. That's it.
Pause.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
I just want to let you know that
That's
in my openings, I often point to my client or have my client stand up. I do it in closings. I'll either do it in the opening or the closing in each trial, because here's something that happens. Your client is sitting next to all their lawyers or whatever over on the side somewhere. The prosecution is closest to the jury, and the prosecution is the defendant. Right. You need to humanize your client just like how they humanize the victim, and that is very good strategy right there, what he just did. Fab. I already know what his case is. I love it. Go ahead.
He told you his entire case.
It's funny because I think we all had the same reaction too. I mean, this is how we were feeling, when David Yannetti got up for that 45 minutes and just hammered away, and it just made you feel good. It made you feel confident of his statements. So it was really, really good. I love it. And we'll go back to the video here.
In 5 sentences. That's the case. And now I'm going, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I've done everything I need to do. You know everything I'm going to say because I've told you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's about as perfect as you can be.
Yes.
I might have preferred a slightly softer phrasing at the beginning.
Sure.
Like this case is about how Karen Read was framed, but he went with a bolder Karen Read was framed.
I
But
love
you know, that's a quibble. That's a quibble of a stylistic concern. But
Right.
this is about as perfect as it can be. This is what an opening should be. Just do that every time. You'll be fine.
Oh, amazing. Great job. Okay, let's go.
I told you my name is David Yannetti. I'm an attorney with an office in Boston. Together with attorneys Alan Jackson and Elizabeth Little, it is truly my privilege and my honor to represent Karen Read during this trial.
I never say that, but that's something some lawyers say.
From a very early juncture in this case, you will question the Commonwealth.
Hans Gruber checking in saying, I hired Yannetti back in 2016. Homeboy, don't fuck around. I love it. I love it. I love it. And just to remind anybody, tonight, any super chat, any membership that comes through, any donation that comes through, we're going to donate 25% of all of the donations tonight to be given to Karen Read's defense fund. And I will post receipts to ensure that, so you have transparency. And right now we have $40 that have come in. I'm trying to get to at least 100 so we can post that 100 on Karen's defense fund tonight. So we'll keep moving on here with this video.
Theory of the case.
Oh yeah.
You will question the quality of the Commonwealth's evidence.
Yes.
You will question the veracity of the Commonwealth's witnesses.
Yes.
And you will question their shoddy and biased investigation.
Pause.
Pause. Pause.
Parallelism, repetition.
Yes. Yes.
You will.
Yes. Yes. And question. What is a question, guys? Reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
It is doubt. Every question that you point out to the jury.
All right, let's just get caught up on, let's see. Donos, let's see. So Renee, I only see a 20. One Venmo. Yep, we got that. One Venmo. I only got one Cash App. I can show you. I only got one Cash App. And let's see. We got the 20 from Little Irish Girl, so add 20 to that. It's fine. We'll round up to the 60. I have no problem chipping in. I didn't see the other dono come through, but that's fine. That's fine. So we'll just say 60, another 20 on that. We should be at 80 right now. We're at $80. Add in the 6. Oh, Renee says, oh, I thought someone else sent one. No, I got all that. So we have 60 total. 60 total right now. Thank you, Casey. Thanks for keeping the run in total. Little Irish Girl, thank you so much. Hashtag we are Karen Read. I absolutely agree. Thank you. All right, we're at 60. And we'll keep going. All right, let's keep going through here.
They didn't answer this question for you. And
No
if
problem,
it's
Renee.
consequential to the case, that is doubt. And that doubt is reasonable. And what does reasonable doubt mean? Not guilty. You don't they don't have to totally believe that she was framed, but if they don't know what happened, that's not guilty. So great job. Great job with the repetition. Great job with, you will have questions about all of these different categories of evidence.
I love this.
And I mean, it's a bold choice, but I do appreciate and take note. You will question. I am telling you, this is declarative.
Yes.
And I am ascribing this to you. And he does this in other parts of the speech too, where he just actively ascribes it to them.
Yeah.
He's like, I am telling you, this is what you are doing. It's a very powerful choice. And I think it definitely works here. And
the reason you said that it's a powerful choice and that it's like, it's risky, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. That's a risky choice because it could be that the jurors could think in their mind, well, I'm not questioning anything. Yep. They've completely proven this. All the evidence is so, but I believe that he believes.
All right. We just had 15 come through on Buy Me a Coffee. Nelly, thank you so much for your 15 on Buy Me a Coffee. We'll add that to the total. So should be at 75 right now. 75. All right. Let's keep playing.
What he's saying. And so that's the strategy question for a lot of lawyers in defense. How definitive do you want to be with your opening statement, right? Because sometimes you don't know what is going to really pan out, but the prosecution has already laid out their case completely.
It didn't hurt that the prosecution fumbled the ball so incredibly hard that he was
So
able
bad.
to do that. It's like, because you will
Yeah.
question. I'm like, yeah, I'll question because what the hell is going on?
I
My
question the opening. I question the opening. So I'm definitely going to question everything because the prosecutor doesn't sound confident at all. And it's almost reversed because a lot of times the defense won't sound as confident in our opening because we don't know what's really going to happen. We don't know how the evidence is going to shape.
100%. The defense came out on fire, absolute fire, just bullets in the chamber, and just led. It almost sounded like if they were like the prosecution, like they're coming after everybody, you know. Lally was just fumbling, talking about so many people. I'm sure the jury was confused, and the defense just comes out. David Yeti stands there with the hands on the podium and just leans into the jury and looks at all of them and says, Karen Read was framed. Boom. Just right on fire. All right, we'll play a little bit more, and then I do have some other videos I want to get to.
Out, and the prosecutor is so confident, right? And then it's kind of good sometimes where you can be like, yeah, they were so confident in their opening, but everything they promised you did not come true. But here it's flipped. The defense is so confident in their theory of the case, and the prosecution sounds like they're questioning themselves.
Yeah.
Yep. Sad.
Play.
And Read sitting here today. You will learn, in short, that the police did no real investigation of this case, and you will question why. You'll question.
All right, we had a Venmo come in from Michelle. She gave $20. She said the new studio looks great. Karen Read is getting justice for John O'Keefe and us all. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate the Venmo. Colleen comes through with $10. She says hashtag free Karen Read, hashtag justice for John, hashtag journalism is not a crime. Keep up the good work. Studio came out great. Thank you so much, Colleen. I appreciate that. So add 20 and 10. Thank you. All right, let's keep rolling. A little bit more here, and then we'll go back to the presentation. I got a lot of other stuff I want to get into.
Why
smash
the
that like button.
investigators had such tunnel vision.
Excuse me.
You will question why they focused solely on Karen Read, someone with no ties to the Canton Police Department, as opposed to the well-known and well-connected Albert family of Canton, family that was never treated as suspects by the investigators in this case. Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found mortally injured on Brian Albert's front lawn. His body was in full view and almost right below Brian Albert's bedroom window on his front lawn.
Yes.
He was found wearing only one sneaker. You'll learn that Brian Albert was a Boston.
That is when you have an alternative suspect theory, someone else did it and they set her up, right? You have an alternative suspect theory. He's basically prosecuting his alternative suspect. It was right there in front of his house. He knew his body was there. He never called for help for him. He's the killer, right? He's directly implicating someone else in this guy's death, which is, again, very, very bold. And I really want to commend him for how he's doing it here. He's basically prosecuting his own case, which is so rare that we're able to do that. It must feel so satisfying for him. Do you have any thoughts on that?
And he's using vocal variety, vocal intonation,
yes,
pausing, emphasis, changing the alliteration of things. He's using public speaking techniques.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to pause there because there's a lot I want to get to through the rest of the show here. I have some other testimony that I want to go to. But if you want to continue to watch that video in its entirety, and please go over and subscribe to Natalie's channel. She's a new favorite of mine. I love her reaction. She's honest. She's a defense attorney, so you're hearing the opinion of a defense attorney. And I think she just breaks it down really easy for everybody to follow. And that's what makes her channel great. That's why she has 144,000 subscribers on her channel. So Natalie, great job. We'll definitely keep checking back with you. Hopefully you'll keep doing some more of these breakdowns. And I hope you don't mind me playing this video and promoting your channel. Okay, let's move on here back to the presentation, and we'll get through a little bit more of this. Let's see. Okay, so we had Again, David Unetti, opening statements, comes out. Michael Proctor confiscated Karen Reed's phone and searched it illegally, and then bragged to his friends, and I spelt friends wrong, that he hadn't found any nudes of her on her phone yet. I said, I love that Unetti simplified the timeline. It was just bang, 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 bang in order, very easy for the jury to follow. Confirmed. Lucky Loughran seeing the Ford Edge parked outside at 34 Fairview at 3:30 a.m. He talked about no injuries to John's upper body at all. And then the text between Proctor and Brian Albert revealed that no one in the house was sad about John being dead. And I have that wrong. That is wrong. That is I typed that quick and that is wrong. I got kind of fact checked on that when I said this the other day. So forgot to take that out. Sorry, my voice is starting to get all kind of boggled here. They did some painting in the office over the week and the fumes are pretty strong in here. So, but we'll keep moving on here. So again, day one, we had Paul and Erin O'Keefe's testimony. Basically said that Karen was a good person. She said that they both said that she helped out with the kids. Karen and John's arguments were nothing out of the normal, couples fight. And we've talked about that. Erin asked Lally to refresh her mind about statements, which was really weird. And no cross for either witness from Unetti. Hang on one second. I'm just going to open this window. Sorry about that. I just want to crack a window. Let's get some air in here. Okay, so we move on. We go on to day one, Officer Sarif's testimony. Sarif was first on the scene at 34 Fairview, said Karen had blood around her mouth when he arrived. The witnessed Officer Sarif chuckles when Adam Lally asked to depict what was in this photo below here. During direct testimony, he says, a street. I thought that was pretty funny. Sarif says, Officer Sarif states during testimony that when he arrived at Karen Reed was giving Officer O'Keefe CPR and she had blood on her face. If Mr. O'Keefe was in the snow, left to die for 6 hours by Reed, how could his blood still be somewhat in liquid form around her mouth? And does a girlfriend that wants her boyfriend dead give him CPR? Doesn't make sense. He also said that there was about 6 inches of snow around O'Keefe and but there was a light dusting on him. But he was out there supposedly for 5+ hours. Didn't make sense. And then we get into this. We get into Jen McCabe sneaking off and Alan Jackson questioning Sarif's technique in investigating why was Jen McCabe allowed to go back into 34 Fairview. And I want to know what she was doing inside 34 Fairview. So let's get over to this video here during cross. This is Officer Sarif with Alan Jackson. And I believe I have the right tab. If I don't, then we'll get it correct.
Do you recognize your dash cam video being on the left of the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you looked at Sergeant Good's dash cam video, which is squared up on the right side of the screen?
No.
You've never seen it?
No.
Okay. Does it appear to you that these are two different perspectives of the same scene? In other words, you see the car or the SUV on the left side of the screen right here, correct?
Yes, sir.
See that same SUV right there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that appear to be two different perspectives, two different angles?
Yes.
Of basically the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to the individuals to the left of the SUV right here. There's a person wearing a hood with fur on it. Is that Carrie Roberts? To your memory?
I don't know.
Okay. There appears to be another person with a darker jacket standing just in front of that person with the hood and fur. You see that person?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to focus on the person in the darker jacket.
Sure.
I believe, and the only reason I'm asking you to focus at this point is because I want to try to play this just once and see if you recognize what's depicted in the video.
Sure.
What I expect you may see is this person move out of sight behind the SUV, and then in the background, there's an SUV parked in the driveway. Pay special attention to that portion of the SUV and see if you see that person in the dark jacket pass from right to left in front of that SUV as if they're going to the house. Let's go ahead and play it. Go ahead and pause it. Have you seen the person in the dark jacket leave the view?
Yes.
Did she appear to go behind the SUV?
No, what I was saying, and I was muted. What I was saying was, I remember when everybody saw this on this is day 2, because this is cross, day 2, and everybody was like, what the fuck? I remember like texting a billion people like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and play it. Go ahead and stop track. And now I'm going to ask to draw your attention to that car with snow on it. Pay special attention to that car as the film continues to run. Go ahead.
Here goes.
Do you see a person standing in front of the car?
Right there.
It appears
Is
to
she
be-
going?
Yes.
Walking from right to left.
Yes.
Would that be toward the house?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. And also, if you wouldn't mind switching your perspective, now you're looking more at the front of the house. Continue watching the film and see if you see that same person walking toward the house.
Isaiah checking in saying, and what's up, dude? How are you, man? Good to see you in here. He says, Isaiah is an old coworker of mine. He's a great guy. He says, that's totally not securing the scene. 1000%. You are allowing people to walk off. I was just saying this morning, because in the morning, I like to get up and watch those dash cam videos or like the police body cam videos. And they come up on a scene and there might be multiple people there. And immediately, you know, they're coming into a situation that someone might be hurt or on the ground or shot or stabbed, and people might start wandering off or walking away. What are officers doing immediately in those videos? Come here. Where are you going? Where do you think you're going? Get over here. What is your name? They're securing the scene. They're making sure that witnesses don't walk off. Why do you not want witnesses to walk off? Because you don't want them corroborating their story if they've done something wrong. And this is a huge problem here. They did not secure the scene. And then I love when you always see like news footage of scenes, and they may say, you know, something happened in Pembroke or something happened in Holden today. Oh, what do we see when they have the stock shot of the house that something might have happened at? You see crime scene tape. You see none of that. You see none of that here, and you see that none of that in these photos. That is called securing a scene 101.
Stop. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see. Oh, yeah. Yes. I saw the shadow. Yes.
Right. Shadow of a person
Yes.
walking toward the front of the house. That was Jennifer McCabe going into the house, wasn't it?
I have no idea.
Was it a person going into the house?
It was a person. Yes.
Did you give anybody any permission to go into the house?
No, not my own.
Would you think that a witness in a homicide scene, we can go ahead and raise the lights. Thank you. Would you think that a witness at a homicide scene being allowed to go into a house
Yeah.
to make contact with other witnesses?
I didn't know it was a homicide scene, sir.
If I could finish my question. Do you think it's appropriate for a witness at a potential homicide scene, an unconscious person scene, whatever, crime scene,
Yes.
to make contact with other witnesses and begin discussing the situation unsupervised?
Can you rephrase that question, sir?
Do you think that's an appropriate thing to have happen?
Why do you need to rephrase it? He just asked you the question. Do you think that is proper for people to walk off that are witnesses and to stop them from cooperating? Can you rephrase that? Because you know you screwed up. You know you screwed up, and you should not have done that.
I have no answer for that, sir.
I have no
don't know
answer.
what you're
Well, you should.
asking.
You should have an answer for that. You should, because you broke protocol and you broke procedure, and there should be disciplinary actions immediately, right now. Just knowing this, you have broken police procedure. Absolutely.
Officer Sheriff, when you go to a crime scene,
Yes, sir.
one of the first things that you'd want to do is secure the scene and separate witnesses.
Yeah, it was
so
an
that
oversight. Right.
interviews could be conducted, correct?
Sure.
You wouldn't want witnesses just cavorting together and getting their story straight, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You'd want to avoid that at all costs, right?
Yes. Yes.
And why is that?
So they can't collaborate their story.
Yet there was a person walking from the area where a body was found in the lawn of a house, walking into the house to make contact with other individuals, correct?
It appeared that way, yes, sir.
Does that seem appropriate to you?
No.
Of course not.
Yeah, right there. There's the shift.
We've talked a bit about what we did and didn't hear at the scene from my client. At any point when you were at that location, did you hear my client repeating the phrase, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
She said, I hit him? No, I didn't hear that part.
There you go. Now, wasn't it earlier, and I got to remember if I go back, during direct, he said that he did hear it, and Jackson now comes back and says, did you hear her say that? And he says, oh, no, I didn't hear that. So you lying. You be lying. You be lying. You be lying. You be lying.
You never heard her whisper it, yell it, say it, or otherwise?
Not that I recall.
If you had heard that statement, you likely would have written it down, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You likely would have reported that to Trooper Proctor the next day, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You likely would have mentioned it in your grand jury testimony, correct?
Yes.
And you did none of those things because you did not hear that statement, correct?
I did not hear that. No.
Sir, you were at 34 Fairview for more than an hour before you cleared the scene, right?
Yes, sir.
You were at the location of the body of John O'Keefe.
Yes.
In other words, you just didn't stay in your cruiser. You walked out to where John O'Keefe was.
No, I was in my cruiser at different times. I
Must have been a bad question. You didn't just stay in your cruiser. At points, you got out of your cruiser, walked over, made contact with the women, and you were standing next to the body.
yes.
And you were obviously looking around. You noticed.
Right, because when you are deceptive, that's what you do, because you're trying to map this all out in your brain as things are coming in. So the information's filtering in. The truth wants to come out, but you are filtering it to hide the truth. That's what he's doing. So he's playing mental gymnastics right now, and Jackson has him. And you can hear it when he's doing the I don't recall. I don't know. It could be a person. I see a figure. I don't know if it's a man or woman. He knows. But you caught. That's up. You caught.
Just some footprints,
Yes.
and you even noticed some lack of footprints.
That's correct.
So you were being observant at the area of the body
Yes.
and the area adjacent to the body.
Yes.
You were looking for anything that might have been out of place,
Yes.
anything of any evidentiary value, correct?
Yes.
Danny checks in. She says, this is frightening. He's a sergeant. Yeah. You're a sergeant. You should know this protocol. I do not follow any basic police procedure protocol that night. Everyone should be worried about that. 100%. I love that. 100%.
You never saw or otherwise observed or located a single piece of taillight material, did you?
No,
You certainly didn't see 45 pieces of broken plastic or taillight material, did you?
no,
You never located or otherwise observed John O'Keefe's
That's a
missing
nervous tick
shoe
right there too.
no.
or any other clothing of his.
I
He
didn't.
wants
No,
out.
Officer Schraff, did you ever think to look inside the house for
no,
that missing shoe?
no,
That never crossed your mind?
no.
You think that might have been a smart thing to do at the time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Sure. Do you think that would have been appropriate protocol
Protocol.
when dealing with a body laying on a lawn that is partially
Here he goes.
unclothed to look
He's gonna
inside
go. Here it comes. Ready?
the house of the lawn?
No,
You didn't think that would have been an appropriate protocol?
no,
Why would you not think that's appropriate protocol? Hello? There is a dead man on the lawn. Okay? First thing I'd be like, to the people that are outside, do you know what happened? What is going on? You know, what's going on here? And then probably I'd walk up to the house of the homeowner and want to speak with them and say, did you see anything? Hello? Hi. There's a dead person, because at this point they don't know who this is. So really quick, we run up. Hello, do you know anything about the injured or dead person that's in your lawn? Have you seen anything? Have you heard anything? Do you know any of the people outside? Pretty simple stuff. I mean, that's pretty basic questions. And I'm not even a detective or an officer. I think that's something that I would do immediately. Go up and knock on the door and say, did anybody see anything? Did you hear anything? Can we get a statement?
For you or anybody else?
no,
Obviously, you did not conduct a search of that house, did you?
nope,
It's a
And
shame.
you're aware that to this day, no law enforcement officer ever conducted a search of that house.
I'm not aware of that.
That's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to bounce out of this here. We'll move back into the presentation. I just wanted to get through a little bit of that. Let me pull up my presentation again. So moving along, we had Jen McCabe. And then I just want to remind everybody of all the relationships here. Remember this graphic from Court TV. And this is going to set up Caitlin Albert here in a couple of minutes. But you can see kind of the Mick Albert's family tree here. So if you haven't seen this, you can see how everybody is connected inside this case. And then that's going to branch off, and they're going to know the EMS workers that showed up. They're going to know the police that showed up. I mean, it's insane. It's insane, the level of everybody knowing everybody. Canton is one of those towns that what is it? What is that theme song that says, I want to go to where everybody knows your name. Dun, dun, dun. What show was that back in the day? Cheers, right? Where everybody knows your name. Everybody knows everybody's name here. But I just want to remind everybody of that. So we go on. Jen McCabe slides out of sight and back into 34 Fairview. We saw that on the video. Says, Jen McCabe, you got some splaining to do. And this was from Joey Just Saying. Said it's 6:34:19 a.m. Jen McCabe slowly slides behind the Canton Police Department cruisers. At 6:34 and 42 a.m., Jen McCabe walks towards the side door at 34 Fairview Road, passing the closest car to the house. At 6:35:33 a.m., Jen McCabe climbs a flight of stairs inside 34 Fairview Road. At 6:42 and 59 a.m., Jen McCabe's heart rate spikes to a morning high of 122 beats per minute. What did she do there? Love that. Love that tweet. Now we get to Anthony Flametti, the Canton Fire Department. We're going to talk about this here. Let me bring up his testimony on cross. Alan Jackson. Love this. And I think I have the right tab. Let's play. Nope, that's our friend Katie. That's our friend Katie, and we're going to get to that. And I think this is it here. Yes, Flametti.
Examination.
Here we go. Cron cross.
Thank you, Your Honor.
A little bit of this.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Be right back.
I'd like to start sort of at the beginning. When you first arrived
Yes.
at the location, you indicated that you could in fact see the body from your perspective, correct?
I could see a body, yes.
And I think you indicated the shape of the body.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell if it was female or male.
Nope.
But obviously looked like a human figure.
Yes.
Okay. That drew your attention to the left side of the ambulance as you were approaching, correct?
Yes.
And you're sitting on the right side, which means you're sort of the furthest away from that figure from the perspective of the ambulance.
And the ambulance, yes.
And you had no problem making out that figure in the snow.
So the figure in the snow, we had a good distance between the ambulance and the engine, so yes.
Okay. And you indicated that the figure in the snow was on top of the snow, if you will, with some snow accumulating up the body of the individual.
Yes.
But he was not covered in snow.
No.
There wasn't like a mound of snow over this figure.
There were mounds of snow in the area, but not over the patient. Due to the wind, there were snow drifts in the area.
And his clothes were dark as compared to the white snow.
Yes.
I want to ask you a couple of quick questions about some of the last conversation you had with Mr. Lowry about the injuries. You did note that Mr. O'Keefe had a laceration over his right eye, correct?
No, over his right eye.
Over his right eye.
There's a contusion over the eye.
Okay, and your definition of a contusion is,
Bruising.
was it also swollen?
There was swelling around the eyes and a little bit of contusion and bruising around.
Did you see an actively bleeding laceration over his right eye?
I don't recall.
You don't remember that?
And this is the famous statement comes in, I don't recall. This is when it starts. And if you haven't seen on my merch site today, I actually put together a shirt. And you can see that here. If you want to pick one up here, it's the I don't recall, the LTL Media, the Futures Independent Media on the front. And on the back, it says, I don't recall. You get the picture of 34 Fairview because everybody at 34 Fairview doesn't recall anything. They don't know. They don't remember. And we also have the free Karen Reed. If you're interested in picking one up, I'm going to drop the link there. I would appreciate it. And the I don't recall t-shirt. All right, let's get back to Flametti. And I want to just pull this up. I missed the super chat. Heather Reed checking in, saying, it's astounding to me that how many people didn't care about the investigation, didn't care who died, how they died, didn't tape off anything. How John looked should have immediately made it a crime scene. I 1000% agree. And thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much. And we have our total here at the bottom. Right now, we're at $115. And again, 25% of all donations tonight will go kicked back to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. And I will post receipts once the stream ends. I'll do it on my community tab and also on my Facebook page, so you all know. And you can actually go right to her website and look at all recent donations and just see that that's posted up. And I'll post it under LTL Media. So let's keep playing here. The cross, Anthony Flametti.
About his left eye.
Both eyes were pretty well swollen shut.
What about not from the nostrils, but on the skin on the nose? Did you note a laceration or multiple lacerations on the nose?
So due to the bleeding that was coming from the orifices, trying to clean the area and find exactly where it's from is sometimes difficult. So we can just say it was bleeding in that area.
Okay, so you can't define, as you sit here, you don't remember if it was bleeding from the nostril or from a laceration on the nose?
I believe it was the nostrils.
Okay. Are you saying that there was no laceration on the skin of the nose, or you just don't recall it?
On the top of the nose? No, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
On the top of the nose, I don't recall.
You don't recall. Okay. With regard to his abdomen, you indicated that it was distended,
Yes.
a medical term for swollen.
Yep.
You said that could be from trauma or it could be just bloating, correct?
Correct.
Did you notice any contusions on his abdomen?
No.
Any skin that was abraded?
No.
Or cut?
No.
So there's no bruising, no contusion, but there was a distension, correct?
Yes.
So there was no visible trauma to the abdomen.
Visible trauma doesn't really matter to internal trauma. It's not always indicative one way or the other.
So my question was, did you see any visible trauma on his abdomen?
No.
Okay. But you did note that it was bloated.
That it was distended, yeah.
Okay.
Ghost says, I've never have ever seen more people who have amnesia than at this trial. I completely agree. All the witnesses don't recall they have amnesia.
I want to talk to you for a second about, if I could shift gears, about the conversation that you indicated to Mr. Lally that you had with Ms. Reed. You were also asked about that conversation at the grand jury when you testified, correct?
Correct.
You testified that as the lead paramedic, you were specifically trying to get as much information from my client, Ms. Reed, as you possibly could concerning the victim and how the victim ended up being there, correct?
Correct.
You indicated in no particular order that you asked questions like, how do you know him, correct?
Correct.
How did he get here?
Correct.
What happened?
Correct.
Laura checking in with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. We're going to donate that 25% of this super chat to Karen Reed's defense fund, and we'll get a running total here in a minute. Said, don't you think that it would be odd that none of the EMTs mentioned the huge gash over the back of John O'Keefe's head? That's a great point. We've talked about that here. I'm thinking they may have not noticed right away due to the lack of blood in the snow. Thoughts? I mean, it could possibly be that. Again, all we do know about is the confirmed 6 droplets of blood inside the solo cups, which is just so odd and weird. Why would you not get proper crime scene containers or containment? That's just very odd to me. And again, it was a total lack of blood in the snow. I mean, to me, if he was whacked that hard and bled out, and there was snow around him, he should have bled more, in my opinion. I mean, the gash that we've seen on the back of the head, and we know facial injuries and head injuries, it doesn't take much for blood to come from the face or the head. Even if you just even watch wrestling, when they blade themselves, they use a small tiny little blade just above in their forehead area, and it gushes blood. And the head is the same as well too. The skull, it would gush blood. So it's very odd. Very, very odd. I would think there would be a lot more blood out there at that scene than what we saw. But great point. Yeah, Darcy, the blood was in the Albert's basement. Absolutely. All right, let's keep playing through.
Is there any additional information you can give me about what happened to this person?
Correct.
Okay, so that was a conversation that you were personally engaged in with my client in order to gather as much data, if you will, about what you were dealing with, correct?
Correct.
But your focus was, when you first arrived, your focus is, I need to attend to the patient, correct?
Correct.
Like, conversations notwithstanding, I need to deal with what's in front of me, which is an unconscious man in the snow.
Correct.
Dressed inappropriately.
Correct.
And possibly freezing to death.
Correct.
But you did say that you had enough of a conversation with Ms. Reed that she answered you and said something to the effect of, I hit him, oh my God, I hit him.
Correct.
So then you followed up on that conversation, correct?
As much as I could, yes.
As a matter of fact, you said that you asked her additional elaborating questions.
Correct.
Well, did you hit him in the face? Or did you kick him? Or did you hit him with your hand? Okay. So that's a conversation that you're having with Ms. Reed face to face.
Correct.
You're talking to her, you're looking her in the eyes, she's looking you in the eyes, you're standing still, and you're attempting as best you can to converse with this woman so that you can gather as much information as you possibly can as you attend to the victim.
Correct.
You indicated that conversation lasted long enough that the conversation was frustrated by the fact that you weren't getting information that was helpful to you. So you turned that conversation over to Katie McLaughlin.
Objection? Sustained. Ask it a different way.
We're going to hear about her in a moment.
Did you have Was your conversation in some way in your mind, and when I use the word frustrated, I mean, it was just, you weren't getting the information that you were seeking, correct?
It wasn't productive.
Okay, better way to put it. I'll use your word. That conversation was unproductive enough that you then moved the conversation over to Ms. McLaughlin, correct?
Real quick, $4.99 coming in from Ghost 617. Thank you so much for the dono. He says, I wonder if Proctor used the machine from the Men in Black after you went with these people. Also, thank God none of them wore corduroys. I love that. Thank you for the $4.99. We'll round it up to 5 and add that to the total. I think we're at about 130 right now. Thank you. Yep, we're at 130 right now. 25% of all donations will go to Karen Reed tonight. So let's see this. Let's see. 7 says, LTL Media, are you going to comment on coffee? Yes, I don't want to give away the end of the show, but we're going to talk about that at the end of the show. So thank you. Yes, we will talk about that. All right, let's keep playing a little bit more here. And then we're going to get to Katie.
And once Firefighter McLaughlin engaged Ms. Reed, you then began to attend to the patient again.
So the patient was already being treated by the other personnel on scene.
Okay.
I started the conversation, realized it wasn't going anywhere. I had other responsibilities. So regardless of how they ended there, they still needed treatment and transport. So that began my priority and moved her over to try and get as much information while treatment was being done.
What part of the treatment were you responsible for?
All of it.
Sorry, that's a great answer to a very vague question.
Sure.
What physically were you doing with Mr. O'Keefe?
In which particular moment?
When you first arrived and attended to him and physically touched him. In other words, were you the airway person? Were you the cardiac person? Were you doing chest compressions? Were you squeezing the bag?
I would have been doing chest compressions initially until I could delegate that task to somebody else.
Okay. And chest compressions, I'm going to butcher this because I've never been trained other than my little toddler. They look a little like what I'm doing now, correct?
Correct.
And I indicated one palm over my hand, arms extended, and you can see my shoulders moving up and down in a rhythmic fashion, correct? So if
I didn't get an answer, correct?
yes, I'll wait till then. What were you wearing?
What was I wearing? My uniform.
Didn't expect that one, did you?
That was a different one. Heavy winter coat.
Okay.
Uniform.
Does the
All right, let's pull this up. Dina Jam, thank you so much for the $9.99er. Hashtag FKR. We'll add that to the running total. She'd be at about 140 right now, and 25% of all donos will get kicked back to Karen Reed's defense fund tonight. I appreciate that. And we'll get the running total in the chat. All right, I'm going to just play a little bit more of this. I really want to get to Katie McLaughlin because that really was the highlight of this week. I'll play a little bit more here. And
do paramedics wear sometimes bright yellow for safety?
Yes.
Were you wearing a bright yellow heavy winter coat?
I don't recall. I have a few different coats.
Got it. Do you remember what Miss McLaughlin was wearing?
I don't.
Okay. That conversation that you had with Ms. Reed at the scene, that had to have lasted, I'm not guessing it was very long, but it had to have lasted a minute
At most, yeah.
at most. Once you finished your conversation with Ms. Reed, did you then start attending specifically to the chest compressions and the high-level CPR that we've heard so much about from your colleague?
Yes.
As you're doing the CPR on the scene, that high-level CPR, high-quality CPR, was Mr. O'Keefe then moved to the scoop, which would then facilitate getting him on a gurney.
Correct.
That gurney was then moved between a couple of patrol cars, cruisers, and into the ambulance, correct?
Correct.
Once you were in the ambulance, the first priority is to get this person warm. Is that right?
First priority is always going to be CPR. The secondary would be getting them warmed up.
Okay. So obviously, when you got into the ambulance, you
and
shut
not roaming around and having conversations.
the doors. There's a heater on in the ambulance.
Yes.
You never came back out of that ambulance after you got Mr. O'Keefe into the ambulance, did you?
No.
Okay. And you were in there with firefighter Nuttall at the time?
Nuttall and
Not
Kelly.
And firefighter McLaughlin was outside the ambulance doing whatever she was doing.
Correct.
Okay.
Initially, and then she came in afterwards to
Obviously.
assist. Yeah.
And did I hear you correctly, when firefighter McLaughlin got in the ambulance, she took over the driving responsibilities?
So there's two different compartments. They're not connected. There's a little window between the two areas. So she assisted with interventions in the back. And then after we had established everything we needed to on scene to begin transport, she then got out and then started driving.
Got it. Thank you. I'd like to play, first I'd like to have marked, I think it's already been marked, Exhibit 379. It's a video, a snippet of a video. It's probably 3 minutes long. It's not that long. I'd like to play that portion of the video for you. And when it's done, Firefighter Nuttall, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong notes. Firefighter Flamati, which is not that easy to say.
Did a great job.
I'm going to ask you to show me exactly where on the video, if you can, that you had this conversation
With the laser pointer?
with my client. Yes, you can use the laser pointer as you wish. This is just to orient you, if I may, Your Honor. The top.
Yeah, she's talked, Isaiah. Yeah, she's talked. Yep, she has talked. So essentially what's going to happen here, and just to continue on, and I'm sure you all know what's going to happen, is Jackson's essentially going to show that Flamati never had this conversation that he said with Karen Read. I would keep playing it out, but I really want to get to Katie McLaughlin's cross because it was very compelling. Jackson was on her like white on rice, and she was caught. And she started using the famous words of, I don't recall, I don't recall, I don't recall. So let's keep moving on here. And just for the interest of time. So we had Flamati and our friend, Katie McLaughlin, Canton Fire Department, gets up and says that and I just want to make sure that I continue to point this out. Excellent, excellent, excellent reporting by one Aiden Turtleboy Carney. Continues to slay, continues to get the information, and continues to put it out there. And has been receiving, apparently, other photos of Katie McLaughlin and Caitlin Albert together. And we're going to hear and learn a little bit about this friendship, this feathered friendship that she didn't really know her that well, but there have been many, many photos that have popped up everywhere. And there was one actually today that I didn't even have time to post, but I found this one to be great too. Was where was it? I took a screenshot of it. I might have shared it on my Facebook page. Hang on. But there was a photo that just came out of Katie McLaughlin, Caitlin Albert, literally standing 4 of them, and they were only separated between, I believe, one other person or 2 other people, or one other person, and she's acting like she has no idea. Katie's acting like she has no idea who Caitlin is, and says that she did not know that was the Albert's residence the night that she was called to 34 Fairview. So again, we're going to play through that testimony. Jackson absolutely slays. And let's listen to a little bit of this. Okay. All right, here we go. On cross.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And essentially what happens was 4 photographs were brought up during testimony. And because those photographs were not entered into evidence, and it didn't give Lally the opportunity to see those first or just see them in general, that's why the jury was polled. But the testimony was still asked and on the record, which is strange because the jury wasn't able to see the photographs because it couldn't be entered into evidence. Essentially, the jury was polled. They asked questions. But the brilliance of Jackson, when they actually get the jury back in the room, he asked, the 4 photographs that I showed you, and I love it. He got on the record and made the jury aware essentially what was happening outside their presence. So they did hear about it. They did hear about all those photographs of Katie and Caitlin being together. Gosh, this was a masterclass here.
Good morning, Ms. McLaughlin.
Morning.
You responded to the call of an unresponsive male in the snow at 34 Fairview. That was the address you recalled.
Correct.
The house you just looked at, that is in fact 34 Fairview, right?
Correct.
As Mr. O'Keefe was being transported by ambulance,
Mazza checking in says, Jackson is the GOAT. Mazza, I got to reach out to you. I'd love to get you on the show this week. We got to do a show together. I want to hear your insights on everything that has happened so far. And I want to say, if you haven't already, go over to Twitter, follow Mazza Media on Twitter. And also, I think you have a Facebook, a YouTube channel now. Check out Mazza on YouTube as well, too. And I got to get you up here. I'll definitely reach out to you this week. Maybe we can get a show together. Let's see. Queen Olive has checked in. She's become a rookie detective, so that's a $2 membership. So add that to the running total. Let's do this. Let's make it $5. So we'll just make it easy. So Casey, make it $5. We'll add that to the running total, and 25% of all donations tonight will get kicked back to Karen Read's Defense Fund, and I will post receipts for you all. I promise. But yeah, Maz, I'll be reaching out to you. We'll get a show together this week. All right, let's watch this masterclass. We're not going to be able to watch all of it, but let's get through some of this with Jackson and McLaughlin on the stand.
you were instructed by firefighter Flamati to get information about the victim from Karen Read, correct?
He wasn't being transported by the ambulance at that time. He was on the stretcher. And Tony, who was at the head of the stretcher, asked me to get information from Miss Reed about the patient, but he wasn't being transported in the ambulance at that time.
Who's Tony?
Firefighter Flamati.
Got it. When you did, in fact, did you follow those directives?
I did.
When you finally approached Miss Reed in order to get that medical history as best you could, what did the scene look like? Who was with you or around you?
Kelly Reed checking in. Kelly, how are you? Welcome to LTL tonight. It's nice to see you in here, and give Karen our love. You know, we love and support Karen. Thank you so much. And just let her know we are 100% behind her, 1,000% behind her. We will keep trucking along and getting the word out there that Karen Read is factually innocent. All right, let's keep playing. Let's watch this masterclass from Jackson.
So they started to move the stretcher towards the ambulance. Miss Reed was sort of, I guess I would describe it as moving around the scene. So she was moving, kind of going in circles. So I was really just focused on her, trying to get her to converse with me and get those questions. So that I wasn't really noticing anything else at that point. I was more just trying to contact her, and she was moving around.
What were you wearing at the time?
I had my like winter fire jacket on.
What color is it?
It's yellow and red.
Bright yellow for safety purposes.
Yes.
When you began your actual questioning, once everybody sort of stood still, you began your questioning of Miss Reed. You were standing in one spot. Miss Reed was standing to your right. Is that right?
Well, the questioning started, as I said, she was moving around the scene. So the questioning was ongoing as she was moving around to different locations. I don't know exactly how many of the questions I got out.
I love this too. The cross. She's got the cross on. You know, she's trying to look holy and innocent. And Jackson's going to get her. Jackson's going to get her up against the wall. I love just the perfectly placed cross oh, she's with God and she's so innocent and pure. But we got her. Liar, liar, pants on fire. And it's going to be a masterclass here.
During the time that she was moving around, at one point we did come to a stop. And at that point, she was to my right.
That's the point I want to focus your attention on. If I
Bada
could.
boom.
When you came to a stop, that's the point at which you recall the statement being made that you attribute to my client.
Oh, I
Yes.
know. Exactly, Laura.
And in that group, who was there? I want to make sure I understand this exactly.
So there was Miss Reed to my right. There was a civilian woman
Right
to
back.
my left. There was a police officer who was not directly across from me, but I would say maybe diagonal to me, closer to Miss Reed.
Your Honor, I'm holding a photograph. This is shown to the Commonwealth. May I approach?
Yes.
I'll show you Mr. McLaughlin, a still photograph. I'm going to ask you to take a quick look at that photograph and look up after you've studied it for a second and tell me if you recognize people that are in that photograph.
I recognize people in it.
May I publish, Your Honor?
Yes. Is this an exhibit or are you moving to introduce it?
I'm moving to introduce it. It has not been introduced as yet.
Okay. So go ahead and have the witness adopt it.
Sure.
See how she says, oh, I recognize people in the photograph. No, you know who it is. You know who it is. Stop lying. Stop lying.
Do you see the person closest to frame? Closest to the camera?
Yes.
In what appears to be a yellow and red jacket.
Yes.
Who's that?
That would be me.
Who's to your right?
It appears to be Miss Reed,
And to your left?
a civilian woman,
And across, as you said, sort of diagonal, closer to Miss Reed is,
a police officer.
do you know that officer's name, by the way?
I
Think
don't
you
know his
tried it.
name.
Appreciate you.
Your Honor, with that, I would ask that this be marked as next in order.
Okay. Is there any objection?
No objection.
So we are going to remark these exhibits today because of the problems that I indicated at sidebar. How do you want to do this, Madam Reporter? I don't know where we start from.
All right, I'm going to fast forward just for the interest of time here.
Tori, how many are in evidence?
Does that refresh your recollection about what you told Trooper Proctor on January 30th?
Yes.
And you told Trooper Proctor,
No,
quote,
let her,
in terms
hold on. I'll see you at sidebar.
Little sidebar. We're going to speed up here for the interest of time. The fan, because the shit's definitely going to hit the fan.
went to high school with somebody by that name.
All right.
Yes.
And you were objecting that, you objected at sidebar that these come in at all?
Correct.
Okay.
So here's the photographs, and I believe this is when the jury is polled. The jury, I believe
here's the
jury's
fourth one, I'm
polled at
sorry.
this point.
Mr. Jackson, here's the last one. All right, so Ms. McLaughlin, Mr. Jackson's going to be allowed to ask you questions outside the presence of the jury,
Jury was
and you're
polled
still
here.
under oath and you have to answer them truthfully,
You're
okay?
gonna get caught in a lot of lies here. Liar, liar, liar. That cross ain't gonna protect you, believe me.
Mr. McLaughlin, when, just briefly as a predicate, when you stepped out, I just want to make sure we're very clear. Did you have
Now, here comes the master class, kids. This is how a master defense attorney works. I
a
love this.
conversation with anybody from the Commonwealth between the time you walked out of court and just now?
Just about if I needed a drink of water or to use the restroom.
Okay, but nothing about the substance of your testimony?
No.
Ms. McLaughlin, I asked you before we broke if you know who Caitlin Albert is.
Yes.
You said that you went to high school with somebody by that name, correct?
Yes.
You in fact know that person as a friend, correct?
I know her.
She's more than an acquaintance.
I would say she's an acquaintance. She's not a close friend.
Is she in a group of friends of yours?
We have mutual friends.
How long have you known her?
Probably since high school.
When you say, and I don't want to ask your age, I wouldn't do that. How many years, how long of a span of years have you known her?
Since high school, so maybe 10.
And you know her family, generally?
I don't.
You don't know anything about her family?
I don't know her family.
Had you ever been to her house?
Not that I recall ever being there.
Not that you recall, or you haven't? There's two different things.
I don't recall ever being there.
Okay, so you might have
You a liar. You a liar.
been there, you just don't recall.
I don't recall ever being there.
If I were to ask you if you have ever been to her house, yes or no, you cannot answer that because you don't know. You cannot recall, correct?
I would say.
Now remember, this is what I talked about, and this is the same thing that's happening with Katie McLaughlin that it did Officer Sarif. The information's coming in. You want to tell the truth, but you are starting to process. That's why she's looking around. She's trying to grab information from her brain. When you are lying, you look around and you're taking time to pause because those lies are coming up and you're trying to get your lies straight now. That's exactly what she's doing here. She's looking around. She's trying to go, all right, what did I say? What did I do? I need a little bit more time to process here. These are lies. And that's what liars do.
I would lean towards no. I have no recollection of ever being at her house.
She's lying. Look at her eyes.
Blinking, are you friends with her on social media?
Yes.
May I approach you on her?
Yes.
Now she's
I'm just going to leave all four of these up there. I know what they look like.
Your face right there? Shit.
Can you do me a favor and take a look at the first document? What does that document appear to be?
It says Caitlin's friends.
What does it look like? That's a printout of.
I'm sorry?
What does that look like? It's a printout of. Does that look like it's from Facebook or one of the social media apps?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Some social media.
Okay. Under Caitlin's friends, do you see your handle, for lack of a better phrase?
I do.
Okay. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you look at the next photograph?
The reason that she would lie, why would she lie about being her friend? Because of the incident that happened at 34 Fairview that night. Caitlin Albert is the daughter of Brian Albert, and that is Brian Albert's house. So there is a connection. And if information passed about the cover-up, you want to distance yourself as far as you can. She doesn't want to be, she's trying to distance herself between the Alberts. That's what's going on here. And she lied.
Before we talk about that next photograph, which is, I should go in order for the record, Your Honor. The first one was H.
That's right.
Before we talk about I, which is the next photograph, how long have you been social media friends, quote, friends with Caitlin Albert?
I don't know.
More than 5 years?
Probably.
More than 8 years?
I don't know.
The second photograph, or the second document, appears to be a photograph. It's I, is that right?
Yes.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
You see Caitlin in that photograph?
Yeah, don't worry. Look harder because it's not going to change.
I do.
When was that photograph taken?
I have no idea.
Where was that photograph taken?
I don't know.
You have no idea how long ago that was?
I don't.
What was the event that was depicted, or that is depicted in that photograph?
I don't know.
Is that local, or was that on a trip somewhere?
I don't know. Probably local. If it's a beach, I don't remember. I've never been away to a beach on vacation with all of these people, so probably local.
When we say local, let's talk about local. I don't mean, we may have different definitions. Where would that be? What beach? I'm not as familiar with the location.
I'm not sure.
Maybe on the Cape?
Possibly.
Do you recognize some of the other folks in that photograph?
I do.
Matter of fact, there's a lot of people in that photograph, right?
There's a lot of people in it.
Did you take a trip with all those people at some point in the past?
Take a trip
To the beach?
Did I go to the beach at some point?
Oh my God.
With these people? Yes.
Okay. When did you go to the beach with all those folks?
I don't know. I don't know when this picture is from.
Have you
It
gone?
seems old to me, but
Well, you can see yourself. I mean,
yeah.
What was that? Did you say it seems old to you?
To me.
Okay.
This isn't like a recent to me.
how old do you think that photograph is?
I don't know. It could be around high school. I'm not sure.
And I know Mr. Jackson didn't want to ask you how old you are. When did you get out of high school?
2014. I
Okay.
graduated.
So could that have been around 2014?
It could be.
So you've known Caitlin for at least that long?
Yeah.
And when I say travel, I mean travel outside of Canton, gone places.
Yeah,
like-
believe me, there's photos of those two together everywhere. So to say that you didn't know her is a flat out lie. And I had this discussion the other day with someone in the room about, oh, well, they were on the beach, and when I'm on the beach and people ask to take, I get into a photo. No, you don't just get into a photograph. You take photographs. You don't take photographs with acquaintances. You take photographs with friends. You don't take photographs with strangers on the beach. I don't know. I don't. I could at least know someone to say, hey, let's snap a photo here. So there is tons of photos of them spilling out everywhere, all over Facebook and Twitter now. They've been very well connected for a long time.
They're correct?
Yes.
Posed for photographs with her,
Yes.
with other folks.
Yes.
Looks like socializing and partying, correct?
Looks like socializing.
Maybe a small vacation.
I've never been on vacation with a big group of people like this.
Well, that doesn't look like what would you call that if that's not like a mini vacation?
A day at the beach?
A day at the beach. Okay, so maybe a day vacation.
Day.
Sure.
Okay. Let's look at the next photograph. Jay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I do need to remind myself. That photograph looks a little older, correct?
They both look old to me. I don't know when they're from.
I'm going to ask you the same questions about that. These aren't trick questions. I don't want to waste your time. What's that from?
I don't remember specifically what or where this is.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
You see Caitlin in the photograph?
I do.
You're all posing for the camera, correct?
Yes.
What's the location?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't.
This is yet another socializing event with Caitlin that you can't recall.
I don't know where this is
Is that-
exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. Go ahead.
I don't know where this is exactly.
So you've had so many socializing events with Caitlin and other folks that you can't pinpoint this one as opposed to any of the others that you've had.
No, I'm saying I can't. These photos are old. I don't know. I don't remember where these were or the circumstances around them. That's what I'm saying.
You see how you're dressed in that photo?
Yes.
You see how you see the other friends that are there with you?
Yeah.
How many people would you estimate are in that photo?
Do you want me to count how many people?
Give me it. I don't have the photo in front of me, so just give me it. Is it more than 5?
12
12 people?
ish.
Do you recognize those dozen people?
I do.
Did you go on a day trip with those dozen people?
Yeah, possibly.
When?
I don't know.
Where?
I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't remember.
How many times have you gone on day trips?
Well, let's give credit where the credit is due. I mean, Turtle Boy had all this. Turtle Boy is getting more. Turtle Boy is the one that's posting all the photos. So let's give credit where credit is due. I mean, he's the one that's really digging in, and a lot of people are sending photos to him. He was posting many, many of them over the last 24 to 40 hours on his socials. So let's give that credit where credit is due. I mean, Aidan Carney has gotten a lot of this stuff out. A lot of people have just passed it on. I clipped some of his posts today and I gave him credit and I posted it on my Twitter so people would know. So let's make sure we're very clear about that. Aidan really is the one that's been posting all of this stuff and has known about this for a while. All right, let's keep playing here.
With those dozen people?
I don't know.
How about turning back to photograph I? How many times have you gone on day trips and socialized with those number of people? So it's like probably double that, 20 or 25 people.
I don't know.
That's a big group of friends of yours that includes Caitlin Albert, right?
A big group of mutual friends.
So it's not just that she's a mutual friend, she's a friend.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
As I said before.
See, now she's processing. Okay, how can I hide the truth here? That's why she looked up. She's trying to grab this from her brain. What direction am I going to go in here? I want to back that up just a tiny bit and watch her again.
Older, correct?
They both look old to me. I don't know when they're from.
I'm going to ask you the same questions about that. These aren't trick questions. I don't want to waste your time. What's that from?
I don't remember specifically what or where this is.
Do you see yourself in that photograph?
I do.
You see Caitlin in the photograph?
Look hard.
I do.
You're all posing for the camera, correct?
Yes.
What's the location?
I don't know.
No idea.
I don't.
This is yet another socializing event with Caitlin that you can't recall.
I don't know where this is exactly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. Go ahead.
I don't know where this is exactly.
So you've had so many socializing events with Caitlin and other folks that you can't pinpoint this one as opposed to any of the others that you've had?
No, I'm saying I can't. These photos are old. I don't know. I don't remember where these were or the circumstances around them. That's what I'm saying.
You see how you're dressed in that photo?
Yes.
You see how you see the other friends that are there with you?
Yeah.
How many people would you estimate are in that photo?
I probably went back.
Do you want me to count how many people?
Give me it. I don't have a photo in front of me, so just give me it. Is it more than 5?
12.
12 people.
Ish.
Do you recognize those dozen people?
Let's speed up a little bit here.
I do.
Did you go on a day trip with those dozen people?
Yeah, possibly.
When?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't remember.
How many times have you gone on day trips with those dozen people?
I don't know.
How about turning back to photograph I? How many times have you gone on day trips and socialized with those number of people? So it's like probably double that, 20 or 25 people.
I don't know.
That's a big group of friends of yours that includes Caitlin Albert, right?
A big group of mutual friends.
So it's not just that she's a mutual
I
friend.
know the camera goes
she's
in
a
now.
friend. Isn't that right?
Oh, I gotta process it. Look.
As I said before,
is she a friend? See?
I would consider myself more of an acquaintance. We have mutual friends. I wouldn't consider her a close friend.
Lying!
But yeah, I mean that would be my answer.
Basically grew up with her, went to high school with her.
I didn't grow up with her. I went to high school with her.
When I say grow up with her, I mean you grew up in the same town as her, right?
Grew up in the same town.
Went to the same high school as she did.
Yes.
Socialized with the same friends as she did.
Yes.
Went on day trips with her.
Yes.
And have all the same friend group. Right?
I don't know that we have all the same friend group. These are people that we're both friends with.
But you don't consider her anything more than just an acquaintance.
I think I described it to you.
The answer to my question is you don't consider her to be anything more than an acquaintance.
I wouldn't consider her to be a close friend.
Now let's take a look at the last photograph.
Oh, I love this. The lies.
Describe what's in that photograph.
There's a It's a picture of me. Caitlin is in it, and there's seems to be other people in it as well.
Gee, for someone that doesn't know someone that well, she's in an awfully lot of photographs with this person, Caitlin Albert, right? For someone that doesn't know Caitlin Albert that much, she says, oh, she's not really that much of a friend. She does take a lot of pictures with her. Funny that happens.
May I approach?
Yes.
Ooh, see that dirty look she gave Jackson? You know what she thought.
Both of you can take it. Sorry, I just want to drop it on you.
Oh, she deleted her social media?
Of who?
Caitlin, and I'm also in it.
And
Another photograph of her in.
you're doing what in the photograph? As it relates to Caitlin?
Yeah,
It seems like I'm kind of kneeling down next to her.
Touching her?
Can I see that for just a minute, please?
Bev's like, I got to put a stop to this. What's going on? I got to put a stop to this. I got to help the Commonwealth because they're looking pretty bad here. This Commonwealth witness is making us look really bad here. I got to jump in. I got to see this. What's going on here?
I'm sorry, can you show me you?
That's me.
So just for the record, may I approach one more time now?
Yes.
Take a look at that one more time.
Now, keep in mind, I know everybody was nervous about the other day, just because, and it kind of sucks, but just because this is not in front of the jury, it's still on the record. So it would still help an appeal. It's still there. But Jackson does a slick move later on when the jury comes back and says, in the 4 photos that I showed you. So he gets that on the record in front of the jury, which was slick. I'm not going to play all of that because just for the interest of time tonight, but he did another slick move. But we'll finish up here before the jury comes back in.
You're sort of just behind Caitlin in that photograph?
Yes.
Caitlin's the one drinking the beer?
Yes.
You got your right arm around her?
Yes.
Both appear to be wearing swimwear,
Yes.
bathing suits,
Yes.
and you're giving some sort of sign with your left hand.
No, I'm not.
Is that somebody else's hand that I saw? Maybe that's Caitlin's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have the photograph in front of me. I don't have it committed to memory. Looks like that's a photograph that you and Caitlin posed for together, correct?
It seems like it's a close-up of a bigger, like a picture. It seems to be zoomed in on a group of people.
Which was posted on social media,
Okay.
is that right?
Are you telling me that?
I'm asking you that. You ever seen that posted on social media?
Jackson. Wham.
I don't recall seeing this picture, but
Recall.
if it was on social media, then okay.
How long ago was that picture taken?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
Who took the
recall.
picture?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Where were you when the photograph was
I don't
taken?
know.
Probably at a beach with if we're wearing bathing suits.
Probably at a beach or at a beach?
Well, I can't see a beach in the picture. We're in bathing suits. It could be at a beach.
Right. Do you recognize the bathing suit that you're wearing in the photograph?
No.
You literally don't even recognize your own outfit?
No.
So that doesn't help define where you were and when that photograph was taken?
No, sir.
Do any of these photographs remind you that you've been to Caitlin's house at some point in your friendship with her?
No.
Has Caitlin ever been to your house?
Not to my recollection.
When was the last time you talked to Caitlin?
I don't remember exactly. It's probably been a few years.
When was the last time you went to an event, socializing event with Caitlin?
Again, I don't remember exactly.
Did you talk to Caitlin at any point at or on or around January 29th, 2022?
No.
When was the last time you had talked to Caitlin before January 29th, 2022?
I don't know.
Would it have been a day before, a week before, a month before?
No, I don't talk to her. Like I said, we're not like close friends, so it's like pretty infrequent that we would interact. So I don't know when the last time before that.
What about
Oh, we talked
texting
for yesterday.
or Snapchatting or communicating in that way?
I don't remember.
Would it have been a week before the 29th?
I don't think so.
You don't think so, or you know so?
I don't think so.
What about after the 29th? After you responded to 34
Yesterday.
Fairview? You ever have any communication with her?
Not that I can recall.
So is that something that you think you might remember if you responded to a house of her father where there's a police officer dead or dying on the yard, on the lawn, 30 feet from the front door? You might have had a conversation with Caitlin?
I've never had a conversation with Caitlin about that call or this case.
Did you ever contact any of your other friends about the fact that you responded to Caitlin's parents' house?
No.
Were you ever asked about this relationship that you had with Caitlin Albert, this friendship that you had with Caitlin Albert at or near the time of the 29th of January?
No.
Did you ever disclose to anybody that you had a relationship with Caitlin Albert at or around the time of this event?
No.
When you went to 34 Fairview, you knew that that was the Albert family home, correct?
No.
When did you learn that it was the Albert? You now know that.
I know that now.
When did you find that out?
I don't know. I don't recall. It was
I don't recall.
some point after. It was, but I don't know when.
Would it have been the next day?
No.
You and firefighter Flamati and firefighter Nuttall were all discussing this case pretty intently after this event, correct?
No.
It's not that often in the little town of Canton that a police officer is found dead or dying on another police officer's lawn. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I have a very hard time believing that they didn't discuss this at all. I mean, look at all the conversation that's gone on over the last 2 years since the beginning of this trial. She a liar. You lying.
We responded to a medical call. So the conversation after the fact was at the hospital.
And she's going to walk herself right into Jackson's hands here.
Debriefing the call, going over what happened, what we use for equipment, what we need, and just like that was the extent of the conversation.
Would you agree that this case, given its notoriety, is discussed at the fire station almost daily?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when I'm not there, but it does get brought up.
And obviously the fact that the house belongs to, or belonged at the time, to the Albert family is part of that discussion.
I don't know. Like I said, it gets brought up, but I just avoid it. I don't engage in the conversation.
Sure.
It was certainly enough of a subject matter that you learned, according to you, after the 29th, that house belonged to Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, parents of your friend Caitlin Albert, right?
Well, at that point, it was on the news consistently. So
I'm already going to tell you this, Casey, and I'll add to this. I guarantee they have their Snapchat conversations too. I bet you they have Caitlin's. That's going to show that these two talked. And he asked about text messages too. I'm sure they're going to have Caitlin's records. They're going to show text message between these two. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Why would he bring up Snapchat? That's the setup for Caitlin Albert. He's got it all. He asked her, did you have Snapchat conversations? Did you have text messages, phone calls? When is the last time you talked to her before January, the night question in January? When was the last time you talked to her after? They have all that. That's why he's doing this. I'm telling you, it's a master class, and it's all going to come back to bite her in the ass. And he's going to say they're going to probably have a witness of someone at that firehouse talking and knowing that they've been talking extensively about this at the firehouse. I guarantee you. This girl's chopped liver. I'm telling you, he's going to eat her up.
I don't know where that like information was introduced, but
it was pretty early on after the 29th.
I don't recall when it was known that that was the case.
I mean, you didn't learn that that was the Albert family home last week.
No.
You've known it for going on 2.5.
I'm telling you, he's got record all this, an email, Snapchat, anything. He's going to say, oh, I know, I've been there. You know, the party was good. She's probably been there for parties before. I heard that's a pretty extensive party house over there at 34 Fairview. Not anymore.
I don't know exactly when I learned that that was the house.
I realize you don't know exactly, Mrs. McLaughlin. I'm not asking you the day you learn. I'm asking you, you've known this basically through the lifespan of this case.
At some point after I learned it.
Right.
Let's see. Casey asks, but what is the importance of relationship with Caitlin when it comes to this case? Do we think that is substantial for the Karen? I do. I absolutely do, because Jackson wouldn't have dug in this deep. He would not have dug in this deep with this witness. So there's something there that he's going to expose later on, especially when Caitlin is on the stand. There's some connection there. And maybe we can start thinking about that here. There's some deeper connection in this. Something got said between these two. Something got said between these two. And I'm sure it came out of Caitlin Albert's mouth through a text message, a phone call, a Snapchat, whatever it may be, and was transponded to Katie. I'm telling you, there's communication. There's communication there. And they talked about it. And that's why Jackson's setting this up. There's some major information that Caitlin probably told Katie in this case, in this instance. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. They talked about something. That's why Jackson's setting this up. And he's going to crush Caitlin when he gets her on the stand. And then it's going to all come back. And I guarantee you, they're going to recall her. They're going to recall Katie at some point and then say, now that we've got Caitlin, now that we've shown that, can you answer for this? I guarantee you. Mark my words. I guarantee you. Because now I'm seeing what's going on here.
I'm just trying to figure out about how long after. A week after? A month after?
I'm not sure.
But it was more toward January 29th than it was yesterday, correct?
Correct.
Have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Well, she might know, Caitlin might know something about Brian Albert destroying his phone, Higgins destroying his phone. They might have been some conversation. Hey, you gotta be careful about what you say. Our friendship, our relationship. I guarantee you that's probably some of the conversation that happened between these two. And they're gonna have text messages, Snapchat, or something that Jackson will bring up later. I think this is where there's no more questions. All right, this is going to go on for a little bit longer, just for the interest of time. We're coming up on 2 hours, and I went well over the time that I wanted to get here. But let's finish up with a couple of more. And you've all seen this, and I appreciate you. But this is what I think is going on here. And I think later on, something will be set up, and something will show that Caitlin and Katie had a lot of communication about what went in that house, or some tip of information that went on that house that night. Okay, let's pull up my presentation one last time, and we'll get through the rest of what I wanted to go through. And again, I appreciate everybody being here tonight and following LTL. If you haven't, make sure to subscribe and smash the like button here. And if you can and you want, all donations that come in tonight, 25% of them will go towards Karen Read's Defense Fund. I'll post up the receipts on my Facebook page and the community tab here on YouTube once I make that donation, just to clarify and make sure that everything is on the up and up. Let's see. I want to get to where I was in my presentation, and then we're going to wrap this up probably about another 10 or 15 minutes here. So we got to Kaylee McLaughlin, and okay. So we had Katie McLaughlin. We talked about that. And then I wanted to go back to the taillight. And we saw the taillight the other day of Karen's vehicle out in front of 34 Fairview. Again, I was tipped off with some information, but I can't 100% confirm it, that the jury knew that the taillight was completely removed. But again, I think it still gives the impression, in my opinion, that when the jury saw that taillight for the very first time, that's how they're going to perceive it. And they're not going to know what I call here the evolution of the taillight. We saw the crack. It's completely still intact. Then all of a sudden, you have more smash pieces. And then when the jury finally saw it, it is that picture that's on the far right. To me, if I was a juror seeing this for the very first time, I would say, holy shit, look at the taillight. It's completely gone. No wonder why there's 45 pieces, and she must have really creamed him. But that is not how that taillight looked when that car was initially seized. His taillight has been altered many, many times through the process of this case over the last 2 years. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that, and hopefully the jury understands that, and they will learn that as well. Freedom Fighter checking in with the 5. Thank you so much. Let's round that up to 5. I think that's going to put us at what, 145 or 150. I appreciate that. She says at KC, they need to start interview every kid in their yearbook. No sports rosters. Benicle, yes. Taillight removed. No. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you for the 5. 150. We're currently at 150. So right now, we are going to dono. Let's see. What's that? 37.50. We'll round that to $50 right now. So we're at 150 minus 25%. It's 37.50. I'm going to round it to 50 just to make it a flat 50 right now. And anything else that comes in, we'll keep kicking the 25% into that. Okay. So we had the taillight, which I call the evolution of the taillight, and we're getting to the end. Yes, let's end with the sneaky stalker coffin daffer. What are you doing at 34 Fairview? If you haven't seen this, I call it the Run Forest Run video, and the dash cam video was released. Turtle Boy did a story about this, that the new owners at 34 Fairview are not happy at Jennifer Coffindaffer. And what the hell are you doing, by the way? Sneaking up on this house here, and look at the Coffindaffer. Look at this. Run, Forest, run. Look at this. She got spooks and runs off. Miss ex-FBI agent gets spooks and runs off. And someone made a point. Casey and I were talking about this. Let's just say, and we don't know. The rumor is that there was a ring cam at 34 Fairview that night. Well, guess what? You'd have a clear sight as to pretty much what went on that night. Well, where's that video? Where's the camera footage? Why has it been deleted? And you can actually see, the funny thing about it, and I forget what the exact address is here, but right about here, where the doorway is to that house, is a camera, and I think that's 32 Fairview or 31. There is a camera right here that would have caught everything. But ironically, that night, that camera didn't work. The footage was erased. Wasn't there. Let's see. I think I have. Let's just see. And I'm sure he won't mind. Let's see. Let's go to. I want to show that camera. Where is it? Just bear with me, and then we're going to wrap up the show. I can't find it. But TV had an actual video where he went up and knocked on that door, and you can see the camera that was above that door. But I can't find it right now. But yeah, Here we go. Creepy Coffin Daffer. Sneaking in on 34 Fairview, and they were pissed. They were absolutely pissed. Actually, I got one more here that I want to show. So Caitlin McLaughlin didn't know Caitlin Albert. Well, here they are again, dressed up. I don't know. I guess that's how you hang out with your acquaintances. That's how you hang out with your acquaintances. But all right, folks. We've done about a 2-hour show tonight. I want to appreciate everybody for jumping in. I appreciate you checking out LTL, Let's Talk Live, LTL Media tonight, my show. I'm going to be back tomorrow streaming. I think I've come to the determination probably tomorrow I'm going to stream the trial throughout the day. And then on Tuesday, because I have Tuesday off, I'm going to go down to court. And I'm going to film. I'm not going to go live because the live footage down there is basically crap, but I'm going to film the events outside. And I plan on, because it's a half day, I'm going to stay out there all day on Tuesday and hang out and watch Karen come into court and come out and maybe hear some of the interviews if she decides to talk. But I want to be out there for the day. Since Tuesday is going to be beautiful and it's going to be a half day and hang out with everybody out there in front of the court. So tonight, I'm going to put up a tile for tomorrow or a thumbnail for tomorrow. I'm going to stream court in the morning here. I have the amplified feed here so you can hear everything. Everybody has been enjoying those streams, and I hope that you'll come over here and watch trial with me, and I will keep it going on throughout the day. So thank you, everybody. Oh, by the way, what was the total tonight, Casey? Was it 150? If that's 150, that's like what, $40? We'll round it to 50, and I'll post the receipt tonight on my community page and on the my Facebook page. 150. All right. So we'll say what, $50 out of that. We'll make it 50, and I'll get that posted up soon, and we'll go from there. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight to Let's Talk Live. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow morning streaming the trial. You can come hang out with me here in the morning or pop in through the day. I would appreciate it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe this. And I promise I'll be back soon, and I'll talk to you all soon. Let me get rid of this banner. I'm going to hit the outro. Everybody, have a wonderful night, and free Karen Read. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Take the change and take the track, line up a million time to down.